What really shaped you the most while growing up in India?
When I was growing up, it was a very different India. I had no access to a computer before I went to college. My parents could only afford one-way ticket. I had like $300 in my pocket, one-way ticket, and that itself took my almost entire saving my dad had. But it was this urge to learn more and build more. That was the driving factor.
The biggest impact that you created at one of the biggest companies, which is Google.
So most impactful, I would say, was definitely my role at Google. I had that belief that one day this device will be in everybody's pocket and it will change, how we run our life and so on. So I really begged and borrowed one or two engineers to start working on mobile advertising in Google from scratch. I remember we hit $100 million of revenue and we hit $500 million of revenue. By the time we planned and went to the trip, we hit 5 billion.
What convinced you to join Coinbase?
I called Brian's executive assistant and I think, I'm stuck. I don't think I'll make it. I don't want Brian to wait. Brian is a very different kind of individual. I have a lot of respect for him. He reached out saying, let me come to you. And because I was feeling very special that he reached out to me, he said, we reached out to a lot of people. You're the only one who actually came at that point, wanted to take the risk.
What is Emma looking to do?
Our framework is capable of automating anything horizontally in the enterprise, like AI employees for any role. What that means is SaaS will be dead. The human productivity will increase 10, 20x. I really think part of this revolution is like the second industrial revolution.
He grew up in a small Indian town with no TV, no computer. Guess what? He ended up helping Google's mobile ad revenue scale to $50 billion, helped scale Flipkart in India, took Coinbase public as chief product officer, now building AI employees at Emma. Surojit Chatterjee is here to share the risks he took, the bet he made before the world saw them, and why he believes India is entering into its most ambitious decade ever. Let's dive in.
Surojit, excited to have you on the podcast.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Look, I've read such great things, and also from one of or your friend, and now I'm getting to know him, Manik Gupta. You've had a phenomenal journey so far. You were in India, moved to US, led high impact products and businesses at Google, then Coinbase, Flipkart, and now you're building Emma. Before we get into those things, Surojit, a good starting point could be, we're really a byproduct of our environment. What really shaped you the most while growing up in India?
Great question. Look, when I was growing up, it was a very different India, right? Probably a slightly more bleaker India. There's not a lot of opportunity. I come from poor, lower middle class background, right? Second tier city. I had no access to a computer even before I went to college, right? And I studied computer science, so that's a funny story. I'll get to that. I was good in math, and I loved science. I loved physics, and frankly, it was like, okay, you do either engineering or medicine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was like, I don't think I can be a doctor. I'm scared to see blood. I was good in math and got into IIT Kharagpur. And funny story is, since I had never touched a computer, never even seen one close by other than in the railway counters. In those days, those are the first places computers were used, ticketing, right?
Yeah.
So I saw a computer on the backside, booking a ticket with my dad or something. And I was in this counseling session and in IIT Kharagpur, and I was convinced I will study physics because I really liked physics. And one of the other parents, right, told my dad, what are you doing? You have a high rank. Your sons should study computer science. So I remember last minute I scratched, influenced by my dad, I scratched physics to write computer science. That's the journey, growing up. I grew up with almost, we didn't even have a television till I was 15. electricity was there for like 3-4 hours sometimes no electricity for days. It was typical in a second or third tier town in India. And one thing that I always, I remember I used to go to a neighbor's place who had a television, and all the kids will go there to watch like some shows. So one of the shows I'll go to watch is Star Trek. That was like the highlight of my week.
Yeah.
And this was the old Star Trek 1960s or black and white that was replayed in Indian TV, Doordarshan at that time. And that was kind of like, I always thought, oh, I want to experience technology or build such technology. It was very inspirational for me. And I would really think about that all the time. And that's the only thing. There's no other distractions. I think that's what shaped me to get into science, get into engineering. Computer science was completely accident. I couldn't even type. I remember my first computer class. I was the worst in the class because I could not even finish my coding because the typing was so difficult for me.
Yeah.
I saw the keyboard for the first time. But it gave me this kick of building something and seeing that it's working. And I got to just love computer science. The idea of, I think everybody who likes to build in any kind of building, whether you're building a machine, a system, or even a building, that really drove me. I got quite obsessed with computer science. With no previous background, I would spend hours and hours in the labs doing all kinds of hobby projects. I remember building a neural network back in my first year in IIT Kharagpur from scratch. At that time, there was no tools and no framework and nothing. So I would go and read research papers and try to mimic them and build them out. That's the start, and it's been fun building stuff all my life.
Yeah, you've been non-stop building since then. And Surojit, was moving to US was always the plan?
I don't think moving to US was the plan. I didn't even know much. Again, at those days, early days of internet, it's not like I had a fascination about US as a place or a country. What was interesting or exciting to me is the opportunity to learn more, and I got a full scholarship from a university in the US, and because my parents could only afford one-way ticket. I had like $300 in my pocket, one-way ticket, and that itself took my almost entire saving my dad had at that time, right? But it was this urge to learn more and build more that was the driving factor. As I said, India was very different. There was no startup at that time. The only other companies you could join were mostly doing services, right? Not many product companies or no product companies at that time in building software. Very different than where we are today as a nation. And that was the kind of motivating factor. And I really enjoyed studying, right? Going deeper, researching. I wrote a bunch of research papers during my master's itself. Filed for patents. My first year in the US, I had filed for a couple of patents and all that. So I think, and in those days, that seemed to be the only way to go deeper into a subject.
Yeah. I think you filed 40 patents now?
Yes, maybe a little bit more now.
Yeah.
Before Emma, I filed around 40 patents.
Yeah.
I think at Emma we have filed many more that I lost count. Many by the team also, not me alone, but
yeah. And post graduation in US, I think you worked at IBM, worked at Oracle, another company. Maybe we can get into the biggest impact that you created at one of the biggest companies, which is Google. How did that happen for you? Tell us the story there, and in hindsight, what are you most proud of, the work you did over there and the learnings that you got?
Yeah. Look, for me, work has to be fun and has to be something that I really enjoyed, because I'm quite obsessive about what I do, right? In the sense, obsessive in a good way. I find it to be interesting, exciting, otherwise what's the point? So most impactful, I would say, was definitely my role at Google. And somewhat serendipitously, I joined Google, and I got in the advertising team as a product manager, and I got the opportunity to be one of the earliest people, in fact, the founding person for mobile advertising at Google, right? And Google was doing very well and still early days, but doing really well in desktop ads. Ads business was flourishing. No one was thinking about mobile, and this was like, pre-smartphone days. So it's not an obvious bet or an obvious thought that, oh, mobile will be big. I would come to India often and see how mobile is growing in a country like India, actually, and what was happening. I had that belief that one day this device will be in everybody's pocket, and it will change how we work, how we shop, how we run our life, and so on. So I really begged and borrowed one or two engineers to start working on mobile advertising in Google from scratch, right? There was really nothing there. And turned out that was the kind of the important thing to do, and the right thing to do. But I think sometimes it's luck as well. Maybe the timing was right. Smartphones happened, and I remember we hit like $100 million of revenue after like a year or something, and we celebrated. Then we hit like $500 million of revenue, and that was a huge milestone. And at that time, Sridhar Ramaswamy was my boss, was like CEO of Snowflake now. He was like, okay, I'll send the team to Hawaii, because all the incredible work and trajectory.
Yeah.
And what is incredible was, because it's slightly complex planning, the team size had grown to like 40, 50 at that time, not thousands. By the time we planned and went to the trip, we hit 5 billion.
Wow, interesting.
So it was this exponential growth. So I got to see and manage and run this team globally, which hit $50 billion of revenue in the next 10 years at Google, and eventually 100 billion plus now, like more than half of Google's revenue. I got to also run all of publishing business, AdSense for search. That was like somebody else was leading and left, so came to me. So taking Google all the way from taking mobile advertising from zero to kind of $100 billion, and really a growth engine for Google. It was a tremendous journey. I was very, I think luck and serendipity plays a lot of role in life, and I was blessed that I had that opportunity to build multiple billions of dollars of businesses within the portfolio of mobile.
Yeah. And then post that, Surojit, you decided to move to India,
Right.
And you joined, one of the, I think at the time it was the best Indian tech company, Flipkart,
Right.
and you led, a bunch of things there. Maybe tell us, quickly about your framework of why did you decide to move to India and, help Flipkart grow, and what was the experience like?
Yeah. So, it's life is kind of a journey of, at least in my case, it's not been a very planned journey.
Yeah.
At all, right? So I was running this mega business at Google, doing, I would say, extremely well. I got promoted like 10 times or 11 times in the 10 years at Google. So, I was really feeling, what should I be doing, right? Like, should I keep staying at Google for next many years, which, many of my colleagues are still there and so on. And I had this itch.
Yeah.
Because I always wanted to build new stuff, and mobile was very new, and I got to build a lot of new stuff. And it was kind of getting a little comfortable. And I feel very, I don't feel good when things are a little bit comfortable, kind of.
That gives
like
you
to-
anxiety.
Yeah,
Something is wrong.
Something is wrong. I like to learn something new and do something new. And then, for me, it serendipitously, one fine day, Sachin Bansal called me, right? And he got my number from someone. I remember I was in New York for a client meeting, and at night he calls me. He says, "Hey, I'm Sachin, and we run Flipkart." And I was like, "Okay, I have never thought about this thing, and I don't know, am I the right person even? Why should I do this?" But it kind of grew on me. I think I talked to Sachin and Binny, and it grew on me. Oh, if I want to do something different, this is the most different thing I could do, right? Because I never worked in India before that. I studied in India, went to the US, and then worked in a bunch of companies in the US. So, and India had changed a lot by that time. Like, since I left India, and by the time when I came back for Flipkart, so that was also that feeling. Maybe I want to experience that change and understand, and also be part of some kind of something, a history, right? Flipkart is one of the fastest growing unicorns, the first unicorn, I think, in India, and like really an icon. Still early days, right? So I made this decision, which was very hard to make at that point, to leave Google at kind of at that point, the peak of my career, and start a new journey, like move my family all the way. My kids had grown up in the US, right? And move to India and learn something new. To the later part of your question, Flipkart was completely different.
Yeah.
No surprise there, but look, for someone who has only worked in Silicon Valley, coming back to India at that time was nothing but a shock, right? In positive ways and somewhat constructive ways as well. In the sense, the work ethic in India is intense, and so that was like first shock in my head, because the India when I was growing up was like, oh, people, mostly government enterprises. People work 9 to 5, not even 9 to 5. Like, you go to any government office, at least in those days, people come like at 10 or 11 and leave at 2 or 3. So, and now I see this company working really 18-hour days, and people are hyper motivated. And also this new India with so much ambition. To build a company, not just another like replica of some other company, but having the ambition to be the best company in the world, the biggest company in the world, and reaching like the entire populace of India, right? The mission, the ambition to, we'll be able to deliver a package anywhere in India, even the remotest of rural areas, was very inspiring to me, right? So, and I learned a lot in the, while there was so much ambition, I think there was also lack of experience and expertise. The Indian ecosystem was still very early and forming. Lack of experience in the mid-level, like management layer, was like mostly missing. How to manage kind of tech company. Flipkart, I think of as a tech company, right? Senior level leadership missing, the whole product management, what it means was completely missing in India at that time, right? So there was a lot of things to do from scratch, build from scratch, like roll up your sleeves, and things that you take for granted in Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
You have to redo it in Indian format, because also you cannot just take the copy paste the same thing, because the context is different, right? Incredible learning, and the intensity and the ups and downs of a startup. I felt it was, first few weeks or first few months, I would say, was very hard. But then I just started enjoying it. It gave this thrill.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember chatting with Puneet Soni.
Yeah.
He mentioned that him and few other folks, they kind of like introduced all hands meeting at Flipkart, and of course it's a very given thing in Silicon Valley. It was things were very different back then. And then Surojit, look, you decided to do something very different again, which was in the world of crypto. You joined Coinbase, and Coinbase is the largest crypto company in the world. You joined them, pre-IPO. You were leading them post-IPO as well. What convinced you to join Coinbase as your next adventure?
Yeah. To complete the story, look, Flipkart, I think it's still a great company, but in 2017 they got an offer from Walmart to get kind of acquired, majority acquisition. That's the point I decided I should probably leave and do something else, right? Because it didn't make sense at that point to me. So I actually went back to Google and to lead product search, product ads, business, Google Shopping, and that was another amazing journey. We grew that business from $6 billion to almost $25 billion, right? So lots of product innovation and so on. But by 2019, I think it was Google was a different place. So I've seen Google for a much longer span of time, and it was not the same Google originally with the founders and so on. It was just culturally harder to get anything done. A lot of activism and so on. And I think since then they've fixed some of that. But anyway, so I was feeling a little bit like the core thing that gives me happiness is building products, building things, and seeing them getting used and creating impact, right? And that was kind of harder and harder to do, even at a very senior level. The Coinbase investors actually contacted me, Andreessen Horowitz and others, and Brian Armstrong reached out and talked to me. I had dabbled in crypto. I had bought my first Bitcoin kind of early because I'm just curious kind of person in tech, so I'll try anything new. But I was not a crypto nerd or anything. But after talking to them, I felt that adrenaline rush again, right? Like in early Flipkart and so on. That's building something new, changing how financial systems worked for like last, almost 100 years or more, and creating this impact, like economic freedom for everyone in the world. So that's what lured me to Coinbase, and opportunity to learn and build. And it was probably one of the most amazing journeys, because we, late 2019, we were not really thinking about taking the company public or anything. And then I think late 2020, we suddenly decided, okay, let's go public. So it was like this rush to make the company ready to go public.
Yeah.
I wrote large parts of the S1, and that was part of the filing with SEC. building, taking Coinbase from a single product to multiple products. Like it was just a consumer kind of business, institutional business, developer business. Many product launches, growing from like 1 million, I think, to like 10 million MAU. It was a incredible experience. 1 billion to like $3.5 billion, or 100 million to $3.5 billion of revenue in 3.5 years or so. Thoroughly enjoyed, and similar or more intensity.
Yeah.
as any startups will have. You know, and I really like that. It's this rush to build something, ship something, create impact.
Yeah. And you have a knack for figuring out the next big thing. You started with.
Look, so a lot of people tell me that, and I tell them, actually, none of this is planned or designed. My Coinbase story, seriously, there was this guy who will call, like one of the exec recruiters who hired, that Coinbase had hired, right? Call me around like 5 o'clock in the afternoon every day, and I'm always in a meeting, and I cut the call and so on. One day I was just going home, and from Google to my home there are like 8 red lights. It's like through internal roads. So I had stopped in a red light. There's a lot of traffic. I'm just waiting, and this guy called. I'm like, okay, I'm anyway stopping. I have nothing to do. I picked up the call. That's really the start, right? So it's not like, okay, it was very well planned. Let me go into crypto. And he says, oh, Brian Armstrong wants to talk to you. I'm like, who, Brian? Oh, I'm like, oh, okay, that Brian. Why does he want to talk to me? Literally, that's the conversation. It's like,
I don't want an insurance.
Yeah, it's kind of. I picked up the phone to say, look, don't bother me. I'm not interested or something. And he kind of piqued my interest. Very short call. It's like, Brian just wants to have dinner with you. Really, he said, no, it's not about anything. I know you're doing well at Google. You're running all this, large business, thousands of people. Brian just wants to learn from you. Okay, sure. And then Brian will reach out and set up time. So Brian reached out. We set up time. I was traveling a lot. The meeting got scheduled almost in like 3 weeks later. Dinner in San Francisco. From like Google campus to the Coinbase office at that time in San Francisco, almost like hour and a half travel in peak traffic. So evening I'm driving, and it so happens that day on the highway there is an accident. So I'm stuck for an hour and a half. Then I call Brian's executive assistant, and I say, I'm stuck. I don't think I'll make it. I don't want Brian to wait. And I was feeling he must be thinking I'm faking it, that I just don't want to see. Yeah. But Brian is a very different kind of individual. I have a lot of respect for him. He reached out saying, hey, no problem. Let me come to you. And I really felt embarrassed now. Here's this guy. He has built a great company. Coinbase was already a name, right? And he wants to spend time, come and meet me. So I said, okay, why don't we meet somewhere in the middle? So you travel halfway, I travel halfway. That's what we did. The next meeting, a couple of weeks later, dinner. And we just hit it off. It was a long conversation, 3 hours. Then he said, oh, well, let's meet for lunch and so on. Then I met with some of the investors. So it was, my point, it was completely serendipitous. It's not, somehow life kind of finds you. My journey in mobile was similar. One thing though, later on, I had asked Brian, hey, Brian, or some other coin, why did you reach out to me? Right? Because there are a lot of other global VPs also, right? And many of them have done great things. And because I was feeling very special that he reached out to me, right? He said, we reached out to a lot of people. You're the only one who actually came at that point, wanted to and take the risk to leave Google, the shelter of Google, to try out something new. And to me, that is a very important lesson in life. See, opportunities present themselves. Most of us don't take it. Even mobile, when I got into mobile, it was like anybody else could have probably done it. Turns out nobody was raising their hand to take the risk and try mobile advertising or try something new, right? Because, there are so many other things to do. Google is a fast growing company. Why not join somewhere where you have a sure promotion next year? Here I was going into mobile, trying to build something new. Maybe it will work, maybe it will not. See, early days, post facto, it seems like it was an obvious decision. Right. At that time, it was not, right? And I remember after I joined Coinbase, I was very excited. I loved the company. I loved what I was doing. I would call, and one of the key job for me was scaling Coinbase. So I was hiring product managers, directors, VPs, engineering managers, directors, using my network, calling people. I would call a lot of people at Google, people that I really respect, and they're very capable. And 90% of the time, they'll be like, no, I don't, crypto, I'm not sure, Coinbase, it's too early. It's like, so very few people actually want to try something new or different or take a risk. So to me, it's more than, I think the opportunity is presented to a lot of people.
Yeah.
My point is, look, a lot of people could at that point join. By the way, we went IPO. I called the same people, who a year back told me, it's too early.
Yeah.
Let Coinbase grow a little bit, then I'll join. After IPO, this seems too late. Because you already
it's the comfort.
right? I'm like, look, it is never the right time.
Yeah.
You have to take a leap of faith in your career. Just like, you are telling me your story, Shiva, that you have taken a leap of faith and what you did. You have to have conviction and you have to have curiosity that, I learned something new. To me, Coinbase I was not joining thinking it will go IPO because there was no such plan. Brian said, look, I'm here for the long haul, and he is, right? You see him every day. I watch him, I follow him on Twitter and so on. And he always maintained he's building the company for long haul. He's not there to do a quick flip and IPO and so on. That's never in his mind. He's building a generational company. So he's like, no, I just want to continue building. And I like that answer. Not that, I'm trying to go on IPO and so on. So it was completely against serendipitous, an accident almost, that the business conditions were right for us to go IPO, and we went IPO. But even if it was not, I'd have been fine. And I felt the learnings were so much more important than anything else, and everything else is bonus.
Yeah, the secret has been really get out of your comfort zone and do something which is different and new, and that's what you've done at Google, and then suddenly Sachin calls you, you went with it, and then Brian thing happened, and now you're again early into the next thing that everyone is talking about, which is AI. Surojit, maybe kind of like give your framework. How did you arrive to a decision where, hey, I want to spend time in this next wave, which is AI, and I want to build Emma. And what's the story behind Emma? And think that our audience they don't understand AI that much. In a simple language, what is AI looking? What is Emma looking to do?
Sure. Look, It is a kind of similar story. There is a very good book to read, by the way. It's called The Surrender Experiment. I read it much later. One of my reports, one of the VPs at Coinbase actually recommended this book. The thesis of the book is, kind of life finds you. So surrender to the opportunity, so to say, if I have to just summarize it. But it's a great book. I decided to step out of Coinbase and do something on my own. I really didn't know exactly what I would do, but I had this thing in my head always to build, right? And I've built in other environments. I've built inside Google and built something from 0 to 1 to 100, really a $100 billion business. I built at Coinbase, scaling massively. I really wanted to build something on my own. I thought it's like I've spent all this time helping other companies build. It's time for me to build something. I didn't really know what. So I tried to force it first. And this is the whole thesis of this book, Surrender Experiment. So I got together with one of my ex-colleagues from Google, great guy. We would spend time every afternoon, like a few hours. He also stepped out of his previous company and wanted to build. And after a few weeks, we had some idea, and we kind of tried to, was testing it and so on. And I felt just something is not clicking. Not the person. I really, he's a great friend of mine. It's like the idea, like you get a feeling. It's not really, like, am I really inspired on that? Like, will I think about it obsessively? And I didn't feel that. So I say, and like we decided to call it off. Actually, he started another company and doing great. And then I was kind of aimless a little bit. I'm like, okay, let me not try to start a company. Let me just see what happens, right? And I started tinkering and going back to my roots as an engineer, as a builder. I would just, ChatGPT had come out, so I'll just try to write small pieces of code, try things out, etc. Started reading a lot of research papers that were getting published, and one thing started like brewing in my head, and it was again very serendipitous, right? Which may not be the answer you are looking for. I kept feeling obsessed about this idea. Okay, LLMs are great in generating words, but that's not enough to replace or augment a human. They need to take actions, particularly in an enterprise where I have run really large businesses, organizations. I've seen so much waste. 50-60% of time is spent in just keeping the lights on. Some companies, 80% of the time is just keeping the lights on. It's actually stuff that people don't even like to do. It's the monotonous stuff that takes most of the time in someone's day. I don't like to do that kind of work myself, and I feel as humans, none of us like to do that kind of work. It's like the soul-crushing part of our job. When we are not creative, we are not building something, coming up with ideas or building something new. We are just maybe putting something from one spreadsheet to another spreadsheet, or
data entry,
data,
customer support, ticketing.
But not only that, even at a high-level job, right? You are doing monotonous things. Like it's not. I'm not just talking about just the customer support people. Look at finance. Look at HR. You talk to any HR team, like CHRO's team. Like I want to do more of, spend more time thinking about how to get employees more engaged, right? More effective. But all I'm doing is spending time in different tools, moving data from here to there, answering questions that potentially can be answered by AI today, right? So that was the motivating factor. And the idea in my head is I want to create this human replica, but not just replica of one human, maybe replica of teams of humans. And how do I automate teams of humans and create this AI employee? So we called ourselves, and this was like very early days, like an AI employee. And again, the start point is completely
Yeah.
accidental, right? I was not really.
You're not giving us the secret, Surojit. Okay, carry
The
on.
secret is surrender to the opportunity,
Okay.
right? So I had this idea. I actually reached out to some of the authors of research papers who were doing research, some of them actually at CMU at that time, on how to make transformer models take actions, or how to build a layer on top of these models that can actually make the models more useful in planning, taking actions, dynamic reasoning, etc. And those people got very excited for some reason. So start of the companies, bunch of volunteers. We had no company. They would exchange ideas with me. They're PhD students. They're just excited. And then, sometimes some of the, one of our angel investors, he would check on me every few weeks, months, like, what are you up to and so forth, because I had announced I'm stepping out of Coinbase. I stepped out at that time. Like, I have this idea. It's very early. I don't know. I'm just thinking about it. There's no slide deck, no pitch deck, nothing. And he's like, oh, I'm going to write a check right now. You should absolutely start the company. Like, really? Like, yeah, sure. And then, somehow the word spread. Within 3 days or so, I had like $3.5 million of commitment without even having anything yet. Then I thought, okay, let me put the idea on paper. So put together a few slides. Then Axel came in, put a seed check as well of larger amount. So that's the start point. Again, it was like very quick and almost accidental, but we had a very clear idea from the beginning what we will build, right? I met my co-founder, ex-Googler as well. He got very excited when he heard about the idea. First few months, it was just two of us, and then we are here. We are 140 people across 3 continents, and very good customer base, and built something that I feel really good about.
Yeah. I can see that. It's already pretty packed, and I'm sure, as we were talking earlier, you'll see a broker soon who can help you find a bigger space. Surojit, maybe you can talk about the journey that you've had last 1 or 2 years at Emma. How has the company evolved or progressed over time? What are the new products that you've launched? And eventually, what's the magical outcome that you hold for Emma?
Yeah. Look, our goal was and is to create like AI employees for any role in the enterprise. What that means is, can you create future enterprises, future businesses where AI does most of this mundane work that I was talking about, right? So we have built an agentic framework. Our AI employees are basically multi-agent applications. So there are multiple AI agents working together to accomplish something of value to the enterprise. Think of any enterprise process like hire to retire. Like, you hire an individual, onboard the individual, training the individual, any question, anything that individual may need, an employee, all the way to exiting the individual. There are hundreds of humans involved today doing like HR ops or something. But it's not just HR, so finance, right? Procure to pay, lead to cash, customer support, query to resolution. Our framework is capable of automating anything horizontally in the enterprise. We build for largest enterprises in the world, so Fortune 500, the most scale problems, most complex problems. And this is, legacy systems, years of like craft, like complex tools and data. How to do all of that with speed, right? You don't need to clean the data. You can just point Emma to your data, your applications, and it'll do the work. our vision is, I think the enterprise software today is too complex. The entire enterprise stack. People are overspent for software. Every software is like seat based. Most of the seats are unused, so you are spending like 9-10x more than what you need to spend. There are hundreds of applications, thousands in a large enterprise that don't talk to each other. So it's actually more tools to bring in, more complexity it creates, and more time it wastes. Our vision is to build a new type of enterprise stack in the future where this agentic layer, our AI employees, sit on top of data. And I think in the future you will have much fewer SaaS application, or maybe no SaaS application. I've been saying SaaS will be dead. I strongly believe so. I mean, some of the SaaS companies will evolve themselves to be a different kind of business model company. Not all companies will be dead, but I think that model may be dead. And it will be a much simpler and much leaner and meaner enterprise in the future. At the core of it, what we are doing is I really think part of this revolution is like the second industrial revolution, but much bigger than the first industrial revolution, where the human productivity will increase 10-20x. The future will be much leaner companies becoming unicorns, having tens of billions of dollars of revenue with a much smaller number of people, but many more companies, right? That's what is inspiring about it. I actually think we are at the brink of that next revolution. A lot of people are worried about people will lose jobs and so on. I think just the opposite will happen. This has happened all the time. Of course, before the Industrial Revolution, there are like 80-90% people who are farming. Today, less than probably 1% of global population farms, but everybody can eat because of the efficiency and productivity of the farmers, right? And the same thing will happen. It's not like humans will not find anything to do. We'll find a lot more interesting things to do and a lot more fulfilling things to do.
That's the mission that you have.
That's the mission we have. That's the mission I have personally always pursued. And I feel very blessed to be working on this technology at this point, because this moment does not come every day. I think it's a revolution that's happening right now.
Surojit, look, you've been spending time in India. You were at Flipkart. You're also helping one of the largest e-commerce company currently, Meesho. Large part of your team is in India, in this office currently. If you were to bet on one opportunity in India, what would that be? Or maybe another question around it would be an unfair advantage that India would have.
Great question, deep question. Look, I think India today, and I mentioned it a few times in today's conversation, very different India, right? We are at the brink of almost like taking escape velocity. The economic growth, GDP growth is very strong. We have nothing you don't know, but very well-educated population and getting more and more educated. A lot of younger demographics, the youngest in the world. So all the macro indicators are in great place. The infrastructure has improved. May not be obvious seeing Bangalore roads, but as soon as you go out a little bit,
you got to come to Gurgaon.
I have. The airports, the trains, the highways, and it takes time. It's not easy in a densely populated place to fix things, but it's amazing the rate of progress, at the rate India is building today, which I could never imagine. When I was growing up, it was very different India. So I think those are the key advantages. It's this young population who are extremely ambitious, fearless,
Yeah.
and they want to create the next generation of technology, business, art, almost like society. I can be, more optimistic about India. I think, look, don't have expertise in everything. I think about technology a lot and technology-related businesses. I think India has real opportunity now. Look, the last decade, or first half of this decade, India has built a lot of consumer businesses, right? As the consumer class has become more wealthier and more people in the middle class, upper middle class, we see e-commerce has grown, quick commerce has grown, and I see, travel and health and everything you can think of, right? As a kind of a more and more developed economy, India is at one point will become all of our hope and dream, become a truly developed economy. But all of those things that you will expect is there and growing. So that's one thing. All of this will grow naturally as the consumer, consumers become more wealthier and more people get into middle class. But I also think India has a real opportunity now to build deep tech, which is where I've spent a lot of my time. Build, AI, quantum computing, the next generation of technology. Also defense, if you think about defense technology, if you think about clean tech, if you think about transportation, like drones or flying cars, and so on. And the question is, why not? Right? Why limit ambition? Right? And so I am really rooting for, and it's not just India. I feel like knowledge is so democratized now. Access is so democratized around the globe. There are talented people everywhere in the world. I mean, Indian talent is amazing. We have a lot of Indian talent in our company. India could build the next big deep tech, next big revolutionary company in deep tech as well. That's what I'm rooting for.
No, absolutely, Surojit. One last one before we let you get into your part of the day. Look, we know you as a one of the best product guys globally, now an entrepreneur. What do your friends know you for? Who are you outside of work?
Great question. I get. I wish I could spend more time with my friends. I'm usually so busy. Look, I actually, I love traveling. I love spending time with friends. And usually when I am with my friends, I'll talk about things, tech but non-tech as well. I'm very interested in like learning about history, for example, and going deep in any topic. I like to read, and I'm just curious kind of person. And I have great. My best conversations or best friends are people who will share their expertise or knowledge in something that I don't know about. And that's what probably they know me for, like someone who is curious and helpful. I like to also, and my wife will tell me, I have this extracurricular activity every weekend. I meet with many people not related to my work but if they need some help, they are like, okay, I need some career advice, or I want to run an idea by you. I'm usually available. And to me, it's not transactional. I just love that.
You
enjoy that. If I'm able to help someone build something, find the next role for them, I think it's very gratifying to me.
Mhm.
Right? Again, I wish I had more time to do that.
Yeah.
Sometimes time is a constraint, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm a normal person.
Yeah.
Normally, chai and pakoda. and a good, in Bengali there's a word called adda,
Adda.
yeah, which is like, kind of aimless,
Yeah.
no agenda conversation on any topic.
Yeah.
So,
Love it. Thank you so much, Surojit. Thank you so much for spending time with me and taking us through your journey and what's next for you. It's inspiring.
thank you so much for having me here. Thank you.